Paratmanamekam Jagadbijamadhyam Niriham Nirakaram Onkara Vedyam Yato Jayate Palyate Yena Vishvam Tamisham Bhajeli Yate Yatra Vishvam. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hari Om Tat Sat. So, dear devotees, see, in this today's event, we can learn a big lesson from it. This is also life. When everything seems to be going smoothly, suddenly an interruption comes. Now, what happened today is just a small thing. But this is what exactly happens in human life. We don't know when. Suddenly things get derailed. This is the fact of life. Simple fact of life. Why this is happening? You see, what is Bhagavad Gita teaching us? This kshetra. Kshetra is what we are seeing through our senses. Is it not? And here, everything is changing. Pratikshanam anyatha svabhavaha. Shankaracharya says, every moment, everything is changing. Nothing is permanent here. So when things appear to be perfectly fine in our life, the fact is nothing is fine. At any moment, anything can happen. Today, this very moment we are alive here, can anyone be sure that tomorrow morning we will be alive to see the rising sun? Don't know. That is the very nature of kshetra, what we were studying here. Kshetra is the field which is known. Whatever we are seeing, whatever we are perceiving, it's all kshetra. It's all maya. Kshetra means what? Maya and maya's effect. Starting from avyaktam, this entire cosmos which we are seeing and experiencing, it is all kshetra. It is continuously changing. So this today's event, it reminds us about this fact of the unpredictability of this kshetra. The unpredictability of the kshetra. Kshetra is unpredictable. Maya is unpredictable. We don't know next moment what will be the scenario which she will create. And when we are identified with this kshetra, that becomes the cause of our endless sorrow and suffering in life. A beautiful verse from Shankaracharya comes to my mind. When I was just sitting quietly, our boy came and told us, Maharaj, the light is gone. Just 2 minutes before 6 o'clock, I was just getting ready to come down. This is what happens in life. When everything seems to be going on fine, suddenly a shock comes, a blow comes. And then we look here and there. Then we search for solutions. Whereas the wise person will search for the solutions at that very time when everything seems to be fine. And we don't have to wait till some blow or shock comes into our life. When everything is apparently going smoothly, that is the time when every human being has to search for our true nature. Search for the true nature of Kshetragya. If that is not done when everything is fine, we are losing a great opportunity. Otherwise, usually after getting a blow, then we look here and there for the solutions. But a wise man will do it. He will institute the search for the reality even when everything seems to be fine, because he knows actually nothing is fine here. Shankaracharya, in one of his beautiful composition, he says, Nalini dalagata salilam taralam tadva jivitam atishaya chapalam. The words are so beautiful. Literally, it describes this kshetra dimension. Here, everything is chapalam. Nalini dalagata salilam. Salilam means water. The water which is on the surface of a leaf which is in the water. Or you may say the water drops which we find on the petals of a flower. How is this water? Any time, a little touch you can give to that leaf, the water drops down. So the salilam, which is nalani dalagata, which is sticking to the water, any time it can fall down. Tadvad jivitam atishaya chapalam. Similarly is this so-called, this kshetra dimension, this human life is atishaya chapalam. Any time it can be snubbed, it can be snapped. The life can come to an end any time. Nothing is sure here. That's why, knowing this, what we are supposed to do? Bhaja Govindam, Govindam, Bhaja Mudhamate, Samprapte, Sannihite Marane, Nahi Rakshati Tonkarankarane. Nothing else is going to save us here. Death is standing at the very door. He's saying, Samprapte Sannihite Marane. Death is standing at the door. We are thinking everything is fine here. Nothing is fine here. Now I'm just drawing some conclusions out of this beautiful event. These are the lessons to be learned. If we are wide awake enough, we can learn lessons from life itself. This life itself is teaching so many lessons. The unpredictability of this kshetra dimension. Anything can go wrong anytime. That's why knowing this pariksha lokan karamachitan brahmano nirvedamayat, Upanishad says, knowing this nature of this kshetra dimension, one should have dispassion for it. Dispassion is the greatest boon, the greatest blessing that can come to the human life. Dispassion. Opposite of dispassion is passion. Now we are all passionate about this kshetra, and that is the cause of all the sufferings we have in life. And the more and more we have dispassion. Dispassion is a wonderful state of the mind, where we now are detached with this kshetra dimension, and then only we become competent to institute the search for the real nature of kshetragya. Till then, as long as we don't have dispassion, no one is competent to understand the true nature of kshetragya. That is why Krishna had beautifully presented to us a set of virtues and disciplines which we need to practice. And that is all nothing but based upon dispassion. Absence of passion for this changing dimension. It is only an unenlightened person who will be attached to this dimension. An enlightened person, a wise person, will not have 1 ounce of attachment to this dimension, because he knows. That is what Sri Krishna said in the last verse, which we had discussed in the last class. Anyway, this was just an introduction, a lesson to be learned from what happened today. The unpredictability of this kshetra, the unpredictability of human life itself. Anything can happen, anything can go wrong, anytime. That's why when we are healthy, when we are strong, when we are young, when everything is in our favor, that is the time when we have to institute the search for the true nature of kshetragya, not when we get the shock. When we get the shock, it's okay. Some may wake up from the sleep Many, in spite of getting shocks, we don't wake up. Still we go back to sleep. So this is the great lesson that we have to learn, that when everything seems to be okay, that is the time when we have to seriously take up this great pursuit of self-realization. Now in the last class we saw, today it is the 6th session of this Bhagavad Gita's 13th chapter. In the 5th session, last session, the last verse was extremely significant, if you remember. There Sri Krishna had said that iti kshetram tatha jnanam geyam choktam samasatah madbhakta etad vigyaya madbhavaya upapadyate. Very beautiful statement. Sri Krishna is saying that I told you in brief, I presented to you 3 things. I presented to you what is kshetra, the unpredictable dimension of existence. This is unpredictable. Maya, in one word. It is absolutely unpredictable here. Everything is changing. And when we get identified with this, that becomes the cause of our endless suffering in life. But there is another dimension to this, the unchanging dimension, which is the only predictable dimension, about which we can be sure. This dimension, no one can be sure about what is going to happen here. It's like that, in which our body, our mind, our senses, everything is involved. This is all the changing dimension, the creation of Maya. So Krishna said, iti kshetram. I told you in brief what this kshetra is. I told you in brief what kshetragya is. I told you in brief those disciplines which will make you fit and competent to understand the true nature of kshetragya. All these 3 things I told you in brief. Now, etad vigyaya. Anyone who has understood this properly. Vigyaya means anyone who has understood this properly. Now the question is, who is the person who is now ready for the ultimate experience of Ishvara? See, we are doing all these things to have the experience of Ishvara. It is not just intellectual comprehension or some conceptualization of reality. No, that is not going to solve the problem. Reading books and having some conceptual understanding of reality is not the solution. That is one of the steps. That's okay. But the real solution to the human problems lies in experience of Ishvara. So the next question is, who is fit to experience the true nature of Ishvara? And the answer given by Krishna is so beautiful. He says, Mad Bhakta. So beautiful. My devotee. Now again, what do you mean by my devotee? When we use the word bhakta, we have all kinds of ideas. What is bhakta and what is bhakti? That itself needs to be revised. We have our set ideas, very gross and superficial ideas of bhakta and bhakti. It is not the question of just doing certain things on surface in the form of some rituals. Who is a bhakta? Mad Bhakta. Shankaracharya presents a beautiful picture of a bhakta. He says, who is a bhakta? Bhakta is a person whose conviction is saturated with one idea. And what is that idea? It is that asansari Ishvara who is residing in every living being as the Atman, self. Again I repeat. It is that asansari Ishvara who is residing in every living creature as the Atman, as the self. If you remember the second verse, Kshetragyam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. That is the conclusion. It is me, Sarvagya, Asansari Ishvara, who is the Kshetragya, the self in all the living creatures. Ishvara is residing in every living being. So bhakta is a person whose conviction is saturated with this idea that it is Ishvara who is residing in every human being, every living creature, not only human beings, every living creature. Then, whatever I am seeing, whatever I am hearing, whatever I am experiencing, it is all nothing but Ishvara in so many forms. A person who has got his mind saturated with this idea, he is a bhakta. Just imagine the lofty picture of bhakta which Sri Krishna, Bhagavan Shankaracharya is presenting here. He is a bhakta, and this bhakta is now competent. He is ready for that supreme experience. Madbhavaya upapadyate. He is now ready to attain to my real state. Ishvara's real state. He is ready to experience that now. So, ultimately you can see this ultimate experience of Ishvara. It is preceded by this kind of a conviction. So important. Ishvaranubhuti will be preceded by this kind of a conviction, this kind of a nishtha. The Sanskrit term is better. It is a nishtha, Bhagavat nishtha or Brahma nishtha, Atma nishtha, which comes from Shastra and which comes from the words of the Guru. This nishtha is born out of Shastra Vakya and Guru Vakya. Now, before going ahead, this is a very important subject that we are touching upon. Sri Ramakrishna says, Shiva Jnane Jiva Seva. Is it not? He's famous. Sri Ramakrishna has some very famous utterances out there. Shiva Jnane Jiva Seva. Jiva Seva. But what is the Jnana? Shiva Jnana. It is Ishvara. Ishvara Jnane Jiva Seva. Shiva Jnane means what? Ishvara Jnane Jiva Seva. This is what we are discussing here. Krishna is saying that this bhakta who has got this kind of a conviction that it is Ishvara who is residing in all the living beings, Shiva Jnane, Ishvara Jnane. And it is Ishvara that I am seeing with my open eyes. In this way, when whatever we do to the jiva, that person, that becomes God's worship. That becomes Ishvara Puja. So see, the whole bhakti and bhakta's bhava is totally of a different kind. Worshipping in the temple is of one kind. But for this bhakta, whatever he does becomes the worship of Ishvara. Because he is seeing Ishvara manifested in so many forms. So whatever we do to the other person is actually, it is the puja of Ishvara. This is the bhakta. Now this is the bhakta. Now this bhakta is completely, this bhakti is completely based upon jnana. Another beautiful idea which Sri Ramakrishna keeps on stressing. Jnana ashrita bhakti. Is it not? Jnana mishrita bhakti. Bhakti has to have the basis of jnana. It is when we have the right understanding of what Ishvara is, then we will have the right kind of bhakti. That's why you see these two things are not different. The true jnana, the true Advaitic jnana will also mature into true bhakti. And if at all we have true bhakti, it will always be based upon the true understanding of what Ishvara is. An Advaitin will be a true bhakta. 7th chapter of the Gita. Tesham jnani nitya yuktaha eka bhaktir vishishyate. This Advaita jnani is eka bhaktihi, because for him there is nothing apart from God existing. For him everything is God. Shankaracharya says in his commentary there, Anyasya bhajaniyasya adarsanat eka bhakti. He says, for this bhakta, as there is nothing apart from Ishvara existing, that is why this jnani is a true bhakta, and true bhakta will be a jnani. That is a beautiful understanding of bhakti and jnana. So anyway, now see what Sri Ramakrishna is saying, that Shiva Jnane Jiva Seva. So Jiva is what? Ishvara. That is what Krishna is telling here. Now, this very idea, today's topic of discussion is going to be further strengthening this idea that whatever we are seeing here, today we are going to take up 5 verses. These 5 verses are essentially going to focus upon this idea that whatever we are seeing, all the living creatures and this entire samsara itself is what? It is the combination of kshetra and kshetragya. It is the combination of kshetra means matter, kshetragya means consciousness. It is a perfect combination of consciousness and matter. It is a combination of kshetra and kshetragya. And kshetra and kshetragya is nothing but the 2 aspects of Ishvara. Is it not? Kshetra is the lower aspect of Ishvara and kshetragya is the higher aspect of Ishvara. Ishvara's 2 aspects, kshetra and kshetragya, that is what is appearing in the form of this amazing samsara. In other words, whatever we are seeing, it is nothing but Ishvara. Now this idea is going to be further strengthened in today's 5 verses. So the next 5 verses' main focus is this, that whatever we are experiencing here, it is all the combination of kshetra and kshetragya. But here, Krishna is using 2 new terms. Till now he had not used these 2 terms. Till now he was using the term kshetra and kshetragya. Now instead of kshetra, he is going to use the term prakriti. And instead of kshetragya, he is going to use the term purusha. That's the only difference. The discussion is kshetra kshetragya vibhaga. Now, the next 5 verses, instead of using the term kshetra, he is using the term prakriti, which means kshetra, nothing else. And purusha is nothing but kshetragya. So the same discussion is continuing, but with 2 different other new terms, which he didn't use till now in this chapter. So purusha and prakriti means kshetragya and kshetra. That is what is going to be discussed. So whatever we are seeing here, it is all the play of purusha and prakriti. Purusha is kshetragya and prakriti is kshetra. Whatever we are seeing, see, we are all the combinations of kshetra and kshetragya. There is a consciousness dimension in us and there is the material dimension in us. That consciousness dimension is what is referred to as kshetragya or purusha, and the material dimension, the changing dimension, the unpredictable dimension in us. The body is unpredictable. The mind is unpredictable. This unpredictable dimension is what is referred to as kshetra or prakriti. So the same idea is continuing, but with 2 different new terms called purusha and prakriti. So it is further, this is meant to emphasize and strengthen. This has to go deep into our whole mind and our being, that whatever we are seeing, it is nothing but the 2 aspects of Ishvara. Ishvara's lower aspect and Ishvara's higher aspect. Whatever it is all Ishvara and Ishvara alone. Again, the stress is Ishvara alone. There is nothing existing apart from Ishvara. This should be driven deeper and deeper into our being. That is the whole struggle of this study. So here, now Krishna is saying, Prakritim purusham chaiva vidhyanadi ubhavapi vikaranscha gunanscha vidhi prakriti sambhavan. Krishna is saying, the first line is a simple first presentation. Prakritim purusham chaiva vidhi anadi ubhavapi. Ubhavapi. These 2, Prakriti and Purusha, vidhi, please know, Krishna is telling, Prakriti and Purusha means Kshetra and Kshetragya. Please understand that this Kshetra and Kshetragya, Prakriti and Purusha, both of them are Anadi, they are eternal. Ishvara is eternal. Ishvara is eternal. And Ishvara's 2 aspects, they are also eternal because it is Ishvara's aspects. Ishvara's lower aspect and Ishvara's higher aspect. As Ishvara is eternal, his 2 aspects are also eternal. Matter and consciousness, they are eternally existing. Is it not? They are eternally existing and they will eternally exist because it is Ishvara only. It is Ishvara's 2 dimensions. Where will it go? Only we have a wrong understanding about what we are seeing. We are thinking that it is Jagat and world. For a wise person, it is Ishvara and Ishvara's two aspects, nothing else. So, Krishna is saying here, Prakritim Purusham Jaiva. Both these things, Prakriti and Purusha. Prakriti is Kshetra and Purusha is Kshetragya. Both these things are Anadi Ubhavapi. Now, first let us understand what is Prakriti and what is the outcome of Prakriti. Then Krishna will tell us what is the outcome of Purusha. The effect of Prakriti and what is the effect of Purusha. We will see that. So the first statement Krishna is saying that both this Purusha and Prakriti, they are eternal, Anadi, beginningless and endless. Then he is saying, Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Vidhi Anadhi Ubhavapi Vikaranscha Gunanschaiva Vidhi Prakriti Sambhavan. All the Vikaras, Vikara means modification. All the Vikarans and Gunanschaiva, Gunans means the qualities. Now both these terms, Vikara and Guna, it refers to this body-mind complex. This body-mind complex is nothing but the modification of Prakriti. Prakriti Sambhavan. They are born out of Prakriti. Prakriti means Kshetra. Prakriti means Maya. This body-mind complex and Gunan. Guna means what? Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Sattva, Rajas, Tamas is nothing but that which goes into the making of Maya. Maya is Trigunatmik. So this Trigunatmik Maya is what gets modified into this body-mind complex and all the different qualities. So it says, Vikaranscha Gunanschaiva Vidhi Prakriti Sambhavan. It is out of this Prakriti, out of this Kshetra, that this body-mind complex and all the qualities are born. And Karya Karana Kartrutve Hetu Prakriti Ruchyate. I stop here. Karya Karana Kartrutve Hetu Prakriti Ruchyate. Now we are studying what is the outcome of this Prakriti. First sentence said that this body-mind complex, all the Vikaras and Gunas, they are born out of Prakriti. And then Karya Karana Kartrutve. Again the same idea is further elaborated. Karya means this body. Karana means the instruments, the Indriyas. Indriyas will include Antakaran also. Means the 11 Indriyas which we have. 11 Indriyas, we have Pancha Jnanendriya, Pancha Karmendriya and mind. These are 11 Indriyas we have. All the dealings that we are having with the external world, it is in and through these instruments. They are all Karanas, instruments. Karanas are of two kinds, external and internal. Bahishkaranam and Antakaranam. So Bahishkaranam is Pancha Jnanendriya and Pancha Karanendriya. Antakaranam is the 11th. In this way, Karya is body, Karana is the instruments or all the Indriyas including the mind. All this is born out of what? Karya Karana Kartrutve Hetuhu. What is the Hetu? What is the cause of this? The cause of this is Prakriti Ruchyate. In short, in these two lines, Krishna is saying that everything here is born out of Prakriti. In the dimension of this Kshetra, whether it is body, whether it is sense organs, whether it is mind, all the modifications, body is continuously getting changed. Is it not? See, once upon a time we were young. Now we are getting old. This is completely under transition. It is only a matter of time when it straight away goes to the cremation ground. It is only a matter of time. That is the fate and destiny of this body. There is no other destiny of this body. The only destiny, 100%, is cremation ground. And no one can escape that. That is the fate of this body. And when we are strongly identified with this, that becomes the cause of all our suffering. We don't want to give it up. We want to stick to it. It is going to go away. It is only a matter of time. Somebody tomorrow, someone day after tomorrow. It's only a matter of time. It will go away. So this is the outcome of Prakriti. This body, the sense organs, the mind, everything is continuously a stream of flux. It will all go away. So Karya Karana Kartrutve Hetu Prakriti Ruchate. The cause of this Karya Karana is all Prakriti. And then what? Now what is the outcome of Purusha? Krishna says, Purusha Sukha Dukkhanam Bhoktrutve Hetu Ruchate. This Sukha Dukkha Anubhuti. Now we are coming to the other dimension. The first dimension is Prakriti, Kshetra, which is the cause of all the modification, all the changing things which we are having with us. Now, who is the experiencer? When we talk about experience, there consciousness comes. This table does not have any experience. It is only a conscious living entity undergoes or has some experience. Now, experience is also of two kinds. Either it is favorable or it is unfavorable. When it is favorable, we call it Sukham. When it is unfavorable, we call it Dukkham. No, all the experience, the locus of experience is consciousness. The local or locus of experience cannot be matter. Matter cannot experience anything. When we talk about Anubhuti, experience, the locus is always consciousness, Kshetrakyam. So that is what is referred to as Purusha here. So Purusha Sukha Dukkhanam Bhoktrutve Heturuchate. So all this Sukha Dukkha Anubhuti which we have, who is the cause of that? Purusha, consciousness. It is this consciousness which is the locus and because of which we have the experience of Sukha and Dukkha in life. Matter in itself cannot have any experience. What happens to a dead body? We all have seen a dead body. A dead body, there is no experience. It is just like a table. It's gone. Because the conscious principle has left the body. But as long as the conscious principle is existing in the body, if the Kshetragya is existing in the body, it undergoes experience of Sukham and Dukkham. And that is the outcome of Purusha or Kshetragya, the conscious principle. Then, now Krishna says, this Sukha Dukkha Anubhuti. Now we are dealing with two things here. One is matter and other is consciousness. If both of them are absolutely separated, there won't be any problem at all. All the problem is owing to the mixing up of these two things. If there is a perfect separation of these two through Viveka, all the problems come to an end. In Aviveka, what is happening is, this consciousness, this Kshetragya is getting identified with the Kshetra. Purusha is getting identified with Prakriti. Consciousness is getting identified with matter, and that is the cause of all the sufferings we have in life. And this is owing to Aviveka. Now just see, what is the name of this chapter? It is so beautiful. Kshetra Kshetragya Vibhaga. Kshetra Kshetragya Vibhaga. To separate these two things, Kshetra and Kshetragya. Kshetragya has to be separated. Discrimination between the consciousness and matter. And this Vibhaga itself is yoga. Kshetra Kshetragya Vibhaga Yoga. This itself is yoga. Yoga means what? That which unites us with the real nature of Ishvara. When we separate this Kshetragya from the Kshetra, that prepares us to become united with the true nature of Kshetragya, which is Ishvara. The very title of this chapter is what? Kshetra Kshetragya Vibhaga Yoga. The union with Ishvara which is brought about by separating the Kshetragya from the Kshetra. So beautiful. This itself is spiritual practice. What else is spiritual practice? Spiritual practice means what? Spiritual practice means what? That which unites us with the real nature of Ishvara. When we separate this Kshetragya from the Kshetra, that prepares us to become united with the true nature of Kshetragya, which is Ishvara. The very title of this chapter is what? Kshetra Kshetragya Vibhaga Yoga. So beautiful. This itself is spiritual practice. What else is spiritual practice? getting disidentified from the changing dimension. That is the first step. If you all remember the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, so majestically Krishna first paints the picture of Kshetra in a different way. There also it is a painting of the Kshetra only. Samsara Vriksha. We studied the 15th chapter. The first two verses, Krishna paints the picture of this entire Samsara Vriksha, which is nothing but Kshetra, Prakriti, the changing dimension. And after painting the picture of the Samsara Vriksha, Krishna says that this Samsara Vriksha has to be uprooted. Just like tree has to be uprooted. It has got its root deep within the soil. And what is the rooting? Attachment. We are all deeply attached to this changing, unpredictable dimension of Kshetra, the unpredictable dimension of Maya, the unpredictable dimension of Prakriti. Uprooting means what? Detachment. So there Krishna speaks about detachment as the weapon, Asanga Shastra. It is using this Asanga Shastra, the weapon of detachment, we have to uproot this Samsara Vriksha. We have to uproot this entire, our identification with this changing dimension. And that Shankaracharya so beautifully says, if you have to cut a tree, you have to have a axe, or you may say a saw. To cut a tree, you need a big saw, is it not? Saw. And the saw has to be sharp. If it is blunt, it won't be able to cut the tree. The saw or the axe has to be very sharp. Similarly, to uproot this samsara vriksha, we have to have a very sharp weapon of detachment. How do you make your spirit of detachment sharpened? Shankaracharya beautifully says that this weapon of detachment should be rubbed on the stone of Viveka. So beautiful. By constant practice of Viveka, that constant practice of Viveka is nothing but just like you take a knife and rub it on a stone to make it sharpened, is it not? We do it. If you have to make a knife sharp, you take the knife and rub it on the surface of the stone. Similarly, presently our spirit of detachment, we all have detachment. It is not that we don't have it. But perhaps it is not strong enough to uproot the tree. So how do we make our spirit of detachment stronger? The way to do is by rubbing this weapon of detachment on the stone of Viveka. Shankaracharya beautifully comments. In that way, when we have this strong, sharp weapon of detachment, with that Asanga Shastra, you can completely uproot the samsara vriksha. Then we are ready. Tata tat padam parimargitavyam. 15th chapter. I'm just going there because that is all connected here. If you remember, Asanga Shastrena Dridhena Chitva, then he says, Tata tat padam parimargitavyam. Tata means then, once you have uprooted this samsara vriksha with the help of Asanga Shastra, then you institute your search for the true nature of Ishvara. Tat padam means that Parama padam, that Ishvara's padam, parimargitavyam, anveshtitavyam, Shankaracharya says. The real inquiry into the true nature of Ishvara can be instituted only once we have a complete spirit of detachment to this changing dimension. So that is the very discussion which is going on here. Who will be ready? Who is ready? Who is competent to have the experience of Ishvara? Here in this 13th chapter, Shankaracharya so beautifully said, the person who has got the strong conviction that it is Ishvara alone who is residing in the hearts of all, and whatever I am seeing is nothing but Ishvara, this person, that means he has become completely detached from the kshetra or the changing dimension. This person is now competent and ready to have that supreme experience of Ishvara. So that is what here now Krishna is going to say. So all our sufferings is owing to what? Owing to our attachment and identification with this changing dimension, with this kshetra or prakriti. Now see the next verse. Krishna says, Purusha Purusha prakristho hi bhungte prakritijan gunan karanam gunasangosya sadasadyoni janmasu. So beautiful. Krishna is saying, Purusha prakritistha. Purusha is what? Prakritistha. Prakritistha means what? Purusha, this kshetragya, or this conscious entity, it is prakritistha. Prakritistha means it is completely seated or identified with kshetra or prakriti. Purusha has become identified with prakriti. Kshetragya has become identified with kshetra. Purusha prakristho hi. And what? Having become identified, bhungte prakritijan gunan. It is now experiencing all the creations of prakriti. Purusha, having become identified with the prakriti, now it has got no other way other than undergoing all the experiences which the prakriti is creating. The prakriti is creating sukha, dukkha, anubhuti, sukham, dukkham, delusion, all kinds of things which we are actually experiencing. It is all creation of prakriti. It is all the creation of maya. It is all the creation of kshetra. And because this consciousness is getting identified with it, now it has got no other way. It is trapped. It is forced to experience all this sukha dukkha anubhuti. So Purusha prakristho hi bhungte. Bhungte means it experiences. Prakritijan gunan. All the qualities. Qualities here means all the different kinds of anubhutis and experiences which Prakriti is creating. Purusha is now forced to experience it because Purusha has become identified with Prakriti. The Kshetragya has become identified with Kshetra. That's why it has got no other option other than undergoing these experiences. It is trapped. This is a very unacceptable situation for all of us, is it not? We all want freedom from suffering in life. This is not a very favorable situation. Sukha dukkha anubhuti. In fact, if you just look into the ratio of sukha dukkha, you will see sukham is apparently only just this much. Dukkham is a whole ton. Tons of dukkham in 1 ounce of small ounce of. Swamiji says, 1 ounce of pleasure is followed by tons of misery in life. This is the fact. We are all deceived and cheated by this dimension. It will give us a carrot, just like you show a carrot to a cattle. You are trying to tempt the cattle with a carrot. You show a carrot and the cattle comes close to you. Similarly, this sukham is like that. It is just like a carrot which is being shown to us by Maya. And we are all running after this carrot of sukham. And behind that one carrot of sukham, there are tons of misery waiting to come. So all this sukha dukkha anubhuti is coming owing to the Purusha's identification with Prakriti. And this is not a very good situation. This is evil. This has to be stopped. We have to come out of it. How do we come out of it? That is the whole thing. So Purusha prakristho hi bhungte prakritijan gunam. And karanam gunasangosya sadasad yoni janmasu. This gunasanga, beautiful term. Gunasanga. Gunasanga means this connection. Here it means connection with guna. Connection with guna means connection with Prakriti, connection with Kshetra, connection with Maya. Connection means identification. Identification with the changing dimension. Identification with this Kshetra. That is Gunasanga. This Gunasanga is the Karanam. Karanam of what? Sad asad yoni janmasu. This Karana, the cause of being born again and again, being born in good wombs and bad wombs. Wombs means different births. We are born repeatedly in different bodies. Some good bodies, some evil bodies. There are so many bodies. Today we are in the human body. Tomorrow we don't know. After this birth, we may be in some lower bodies, animal bodies, plant bodies. Or we may be in some God's bodies. There are different yonis in this creation. So we don't know what is the fate which is waiting for us. So this sad asad yoni janma, this being born in different yonis, what is the cause of that? The cause of that is guna sangha. Guna sangha means getting connected with this changing dimension. Getting connected means what? Becoming identified with this changing dimension. When we are identified with this changing dimension, then this is a very miserable kind of a situation which we have to do away with. Now, what is the way to do away with it? That is the question. How do we put an end to this? Now, this is what the whole Shastras teaches. This life is horrible, it is. The cycle of birth and death. Again, going back to that Bhaja Govindam Stotram, if you remember. Dinamapi rajani sayam prata shishir vasanto punarayata kana kridati gacchati ayu tadapina munchati ashavayu. Then what? Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jathare shayanam iha samsare khaludustare kripaya pare pahi murari. What a striking and so inspiring words of Bhagavan Shankaracharya. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. Again birth, again death. Punarapi janani jathare shayanam. Again going into and entering into a mother's womb. Again coming out of it. How many times this has been going on? Endlessly. Iha samsare khalu dustare. This samsaranam, this cycle of birth and death is dustaranam. Very difficult to overcome. Kripaya pare pahi murari. Hey Murari, hey Govinda, be gracious and help me out of the cycle of birth and death. How do we do that? Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam. Know the real nature of Ishvara. Know the real nature of Ishvara. That is the only thing which can save us. Nahi nahi rakshati prapte sannihite marane nahi nahi rakshati dumkrin karane. Nothing else is going to save us from this so-called extremely miserable situation in which we are, owing to Purusha's identification with Prakriti. Guna Sangha. The term Guna Sangha is very beautiful. Guna Sangha means connection with the Guna, connection with the Kshetra, connection with Prakriti. Connection means identification. Now, how do we come out of it? The way to come out of it is what? First, as I said, detachment or disidentifying ourselves from the changing dimension. And when we have become sufficiently detached, sincerely detached, really no more wanting anything from this dimension. That should be the bhakta's attitude. I don't want anything from this dimension. This uparamanam, Shankaracharya often uses this term, uparamya, means this turning away. Uparamanam. One is ramanam, other is uparamanam. This turning away from this changing dimension, that is the starting point of real spiritual adventure. Then we are ready to understand the true nature of Kshetragya, which is Ishvara. So the solution to this problem of this sadasad yoni janma, this being born in good and bad wombs, the solution to that is first of all turning away from this so-called Kshetra through dispassion, and then searching for the true nature of Kshetragya, which is Ishvara. Now, when we turn away from this Kshetra and institute this search, as Krishna is talking about here, then what will happen? We will realize the true nature of Ishvara. We will realize the true nature of Kshetragya. We will be realizing our own true nature. And our own true nature is what? That is the next verse. So beautiful. What is our true nature? Which is Ishvara's nature. Ishvara's true nature and our true nature, they are not two different things. Always remember this. Ishvara's true nature is also our true nature. We are that. So what is our true nature? Beautiful. Upadrashtanumanta cha bharta bhokta maheshwarah paramatmeti chapyukto dehismin purusha parah. Beautiful. This is our true nature. This is the solution to the problem of sadasad yoni janma, which is caused by gunasanga. This gunasanga has to be broken by realizing our own true nature, which is of this kind. What is our true nature? Upadrashta. Every term is important. We are all upadrashta. Upadrashta means witness. This witness can never get identified with this kshetra. This is the first thing. We actually cannot get identified, but owing to ignorance, we are getting identified. Our true nature is absolutely disidentified and disconnected. You see, in the earlier verse, Krishna had used the word gunasanga, but actually we cannot have sangha with anybody. We are always asangaha, asango hi ayam purushaha. This is the teaching of the Upanishads. Shankaracharya's another famous composition is there, Brahma Jnana Vali Mala. The very first verse is so beautiful. Shankaracharya is hammering this idea of asangatvam. Asangoham, 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 punah punah. Satchidananda rupoham, ahamevaham avyayah. That verse so beautiful. The first verse starts with this hammering of this idea of asangoham. 3 times he says, asangoham, 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 punah punah. Again and again, tell yourself, I am detached, I am detached, I am just the witness, I am just the witness, I am just the witness. Satchidananda swarupoham. I am the witness, I am the witness. Asangoham. We are eternally the witness. That is the idea. So beautiful. So that is the meaning of upadrashta. Upadrashta means one who is witness and never involved with the prakriti. Atman is never involved into the activities of the prakriti. Atman is just standing there and it is very close. It is close to prakriti but never identified or attached to prakriti. Upa means close. Standing very close. It's a very beautiful term because this Atman is not somewhere far away from this body. It is in this body itself. Both the things, the Atman and the so-called kshetra or the changing dimension, they are very close to each other. But in spite of being close to each other, this Atman is never identified with the changing dimension. It is just upa. Upa means very close, but it is only a drashta. It is never involved or identified with the changing dimension. It's a very beautiful term. In fact, these terms can be meditated upon. Upadrashta. So beautiful. Upa means close, but being close, does it mean that it is getting stuck up with Prakriti? Does the Atman get identified with the Prakriti? No. It is close to Prakriti, but absolutely unstuck. It is not sticking to Prakriti. It is not sticking to kshetra. It is not sticking or identifying itself with the kshetra. Upadrashta. Second term, anumanta. Anumanta means what? One who permits, gives permission. This Atman is what? Is anumanta. Again, Shankaracharya says, what is the meaning of anumanta? Now, whatever this Maya is doing, Shankaracharya so brilliantly he says, what is the meaning of Anumanta? Anumanta means permitting, is it not? Somebody is permitting the other person to do whatever that person wants to do. Here Maya is doing all kinds of things. Prakriti is doing all kinds of things. Atman is just an Anumanta. Anumanta means what? Shankaracharya says, Atman never dissuades Maya from what it has to do. This absence of dissuasion is permission. Anumanta. This is so beautifully. Atman is not stopping anything from this changing dimension. Is all kinds of things are happening here in this changing dimension. Atman is not dissuading the Prakriti from doing anything. You do whatever you want. Atman is just the witness. And not dissuading the Prakriti from doing what it wants, that itself is permission. Anumanta, anumodanam. It is allowing Prakriti to. Let the Prakriti do whatever it wants. The Atman is always a witness. So beautiful. Upadrashta and Anumanta. Then Bharata. This Atman is the Bharata, one who sustains. Bharanam, one who sustains. This Atman, this consciousness is what is sustaining everything here. Maya cannot function without the light of consciousness behind it. This is the big principle. It is only in the light of consciousness the so-called Prakriti can do everything. Maya Adhyakshena Prakriti Suyate Sacharacharam. In Bhagavad Gita, in another chapter, I think it is the 9th chapter, maybe in the 9th chapter, it says, Maya Adhyakshena. Atman is the Adhyaksha, the head. In his Adhyakshatvam, Prakriti is doing. He is just the witness. That is the point. So, Upadrashta, Anumanta, Bharta, and Bhokta. Atman is the Bhokta means what? Here, Bhokta means what? Atman's light of consciousness is permeating and pervading all the so-called the Kshetra. This Kshetra or the Prakriti is completely permeated and pervaded by the light of the Atman. That is why he is said to be Bhokta. Not that he wants to enjoy anything. You take the example of our own Antakaranam. There, Shankaracharya gives the example of Antakaranam. Look into our minds. See, waves and waves of thoughts are rising and falling in our minds. And in every thought, the light of Atman is permeated and pervading everything. That is why Atman is said to be Bhokta. Then Atman is Maheshwaraha, Maha-Ishwara. He is the great Ishwara. And he is also referred to as Paramatma. Paramatma iti cha api uktaha. He is also referred to as Paramatma. And where is this Atman? Dehe, asmin dehe, in here itself, in this very so-called, this body. Dehe asmin, purusha paraha. So see, in this very body, both the things are there. How far is God? Is God somewhere far away? Is God sitting here and there? It's all here. That is what Sri Ramakrishna says. Okhane agyan. Ekhane gyan. There is nothing here and there. We keep on searching for God here and there. It's all here. In this very body itself, the Atman is existing as Upadrashta, Anumanta, Bharta, Bhokta. He is existing here itself. He is the great Lord, Maheshwara. He is Paramatma. Dehesmin Purusha Paraha. See, now this is how we can do away with that Sadasad Yoni Janma, which is caused by Gunasanga. This Gunasanga has to be broken. Gunasanga means identification with Guna. Getting identified with Mahamaya, this has to be done away with. And when we do away with this Gunasanga, this is what happens. We realize our true nature as Upadrashta, Anumanta, Bharta, Bhokta, Maheshwara. Paramatma we realize, which is Purusha Paraha, the great Purusha existing in this very body, not anywhere else. Now, the last verse of today's class here, Krishna is saying, Ya evam veti purusham prakritim cha gunai saha sarvatha vartamanopi nasabhuyo bhijayate. So beautiful. So, in the earlier verse, Krishna said, Sadasad Yoni Janma. Being born again and again in different bodies, which is caused by Gunasanga, getting identified with this changing dimension. But the opposite of that, that is putting an end to this cycle of birth and death. Sadasad Yoni Janma, this cycle of birth and death, we can put an end to it. How do we do that? Ya evam veti, one who knows this correctly, knowing through experience. Shankaracharya says there in the commentary, veti means knowing. Knowing what? Purusham. First thing to be known is Purusha, the real nature of Kshetragya. One who knows the real nature of Kshetragya, how? Shankaracharya says that I am that. The real nature of Kshetragya is Ishvara, Parabrahman. So knowing the true nature of Kshetragya means what? Aham Brahmasmi. I am not this Deha. I am not this one identified with Kshetra, but I am that Parabrahman. You take the illustration of that reflected sun in the pot. That reflected sun, now in ignorance, is thinking that it is that pot. But when knowledge comes, that reflected sun will realize itself to be Aham. I am that Surya. Aham Brahmasmi. I am not this pot. I am not limited to this pot. This body is just like a pot. I am not limited to this pot. I am that Supreme Brahman, that Ishvaraha. So, Ya Evam Vetti Purusha. One who knows Purusha in this way, that I am Brahman. This is the true meaning of knowing the Purusha. Naham Deho, Aham Brahma. This attitude. Prakritim cha gunaisaha. And also, one who clearly understands this Prakriti, along with the gunas. Gunas means all the modifications of the Prakriti. Means one who clearly understands what is Purusha and what is Prakriti. Distinction. Kshetra Kshetragya Vibhaga. A clear-cut distinction between Kshetra and Kshetragya. A clear-cut distinction between Purusha and Prakriti. One who understands this, Sarvatha Vartamanopi, no matter how he lives, Nasabhuyo Bhijayate, he is not again born in another body. So beautiful. Sarvatha Vartamanopi, no matter how he lives, no matter what is he doing in this Vyavaharik world, he is no more born again. The person who has understood the true nature of Purusha and what is this Prakriti, and who has successfully detached and disidentified himself with the Prakriti, and he has become identified with the true nature of Purusha. That person, no matter now how he lives here, Nasabhuyo Bhijayate, he is no more born again. His Sadasad Yoni Janma comes to an end. Because that Guna Sangha has come to an end. Because he has done Kshetra Kshetragya Vibhaga. Because he has done Purusha Prakriti Vibhaga. Because he has done Nitya and Anitya Vibhaga. When you clearly understand these two dimensions, then we put an end to this cycle of birth and death. So, in the next class we will see there are different ways to attain this again. So, in today's class, to just wind up the whole discussion, so in today's class, what did we discuss? To start with, Bhagavan Krishna said that I have told you what Kshetra is. I have told you what Kshetragya is, true nature of Kshetragya. And I also told you about those disciplines which will make you competent to understand what is the true nature of Kshetragya. Now, my devotee, he is now ready for this attainment of my true state. And we have seen what is the meaning of this my devotee, by bhakta. A person whose mind is fully saturated with this one idea that it is Ishvara who is residing in everybody in the form of the Atman. And whatever I am seeing, hearing and experiencing, it is all Ishvara in different forms. In short, Sri Ramakrishna's statement, Shiva Jnane, Ishvara Jnane Jiva. Jiva is nothing but Ishvara, this understanding. See, Sri Ramakrishna's all statements are all from Shastras. This is all the statements from the Upanishads and the Gita. So, it is this Ishvara Jnana about the Jiva. Jiva is nothing but Ishvara in so many forms. Paraprakriti and Aparaprakriti, both together. And then, today's discussion was to strengthen this idea that whatever we are seeing, it is nothing but the mix, the combination of Purusha and Prakriti, Kshetra and Kshetragya. Means it is nothing but Ishvara's two aspects. Whatever we are seeing, it is all Ishvara. And our cause of the suffering, the birth and rebirth, is nothing but our identification with the changing dimension. And to put an end to this miserable state, the way is to get disidentified with it and realize our unchanging dimension, which is the true nature of Ishvara. Now, how to do it? There are certain methods. That will be the discussion of the next class, which is again a very interesting section where Krishna is going to present to us the idea of meditation. Everybody talks about meditation. Meditation is very important. One should meditate. It is in the deepest depths of meditation that these things become clear. These classes are good on the surface, but the real discovery of the true nature of that Kshetragya takes place in the profound depths of meditative state of human mind. So that will be discussed in the next class. We will take it up in the next class. We'll stop here. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat.